So it might.
I think we're live.
I think we are.
There's no
Think-
way we can know. Hello, welcome to tonight's Facebook Live. It's with me and Jamie, is it?
Sorry.
I'm Ellie. We're from Greater Manchester Doulas Community Interest Company, and today we are going to talk about. Yesterday we talked about what we take to births, what's in our doula bags, and then today we're going to discuss what we bring to births, and in a non-stuff way, and how to prepare emotionally for birth. I guess we can talk about how we do it, how we prepare, and what we bring. In some ways, it's similar to the work that the birthing mother does, but we'll get into that. Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah. So I'm actually Amy, not Jamie, but I bagsied not to go first. So Ellie promised to call me the wrong name. Um, yeah, a doula. If you watched, was it yesterday? No, the day before. We were answering random questions about ourselves, so you'll know lots about me that you didn't know before. So, yeah, that's me.
That was short.
It was. I'm sorry.
It's all right. So, what we bring, that we do have bags packed, but that's not as important as the other stuff that we bring. But in order to arrive calm and open-minded, but at the same time as bringing the wisdom and experience from previous births that we've been to, the stuff that we do. I don't know if I'm just speaking for you here, actually. I can only speak for myself
It's
in
all
that regard.
ringing through.
Okay. I suppose when I show up to a birth, I have to have left my own personal experiences of giving birth myself at home where they belong. I have to leave the last birth with the last birth so that I can go to this birth with an open mind to remember that this experience is truly unique, while at the same time drawing from the experience in a way that doesn't colour the present experience. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. It's just not a very easy thing to do. It does take. You have to. I guess you have to learn to do that. Maybe.
Do you think that comes in processing each birth that you go to and reflecting on
Yeah.
it at the time? How do you do that?
After a birth, you mean?
Yeah.
Like before the next one.
Yeah.
Debriefing with you guys is like I can't explain how how important that is and how much it helps to process anything that happened during that birth and yeah, to kind of understand it all and put it into um mm, I was gonna say into perspective, but that's not what I mean. um but yeah, to be able to leave it there where it is before going to the next one definitely is important. You were saying that you obviously you have your own personal birth experiences. Um, I don't have that. So when when I went to do my doula training, I thought that was going to be like a disadvantage and like something that would mean that I wasn't able to do it. But I realized that actually it kind of helps in a way because it means that I don't have that. Um, previous experience that is so personal, which must be quite difficult to set aside or leave behind when you go to a birth. Imagine you get very good at it though. But yeah, how do you do that?
The same way that. Oh, what was that?
Sorry, that was loud.
It was.
Me.
Hang on a second. My leg's gone dead.
Oh no. So soon?
No, I was already in a really stupid position.
Oh.
Yeah, just in the same way that you don't take the last birth that you went to with you, just in the same. And my births are much. They were a really long time ago. So so that's how you process and that's how you leave stuff. I guess that's not dissimilar to what the woman herself does,
Yeah, absolutely.
because she's got, from having, if she's given birth before, then there's so much knowledge and wisdom and experience there. But at the same time, she needs to hold space for the fact that it could be completely different.
Yeah.
And for the women who want a different experience, then that can be hard because 100% of your experiences have gone a certain way. So it feels almost crazy to imagine that it could be completely different.
Definitely.
And again, for the woman who's had first birth, amazing, and she wants that experience again. I used to be quite surprised when like a second or third time mom would come to me and say, I had a really great birth last time, and this time I'm feeling really worried.
Mm,
I'm feeling the pressure of it wanting to be the same and knowing it might not be. I'm feeling I got really lucky last time. So I don't feel like I can get lucky again. Like, what can I do? So I think whether you've had a baby before or not, or had 10, there's still stuff that needs to go on there so that you can come to it afresh, but also acknowledge your previous experiences.
Yeah, definitely. I think even, for women who are having their first baby, like any experiences that you've been told, or if your mum had bad birth experiences, or a sister or a friend, like anyone that's told you that experience, it's gonna stick there. So it
Yeah,
is, yeah, it's important, even if it's not your own personal experience. It's what you've been told about birth, and so
yeah, it makes an imprint,
yeah, there's a lot
even if
of
it's not your own experience.
yeah, there's definitely a lot of unpacking that. Um,
And that's something that we're always happy to do with a woman, to
mm,
unpack that. Even if it's not your own experience, even if it's something that's at the back of your mind where someone says, they told me their birth story and this happened and I'm worried that it might happen to me. Like, that's not silly. That's calling your fears out. That's bringing them to the light, because if you leave them there, they will just fester. And if you don't process them while you have the time and the space, while you're pregnant, it's those fears come out during
mm,
your labour, and it's not the best time.
yeah, yeah, it's important work to do.
So when you arrive at a birth, what do
Mhm.
you bring that's not in your bag?
Um, well, obviously, when I'm still in the car, I'm still nervous, but then I leave that in the car, um, and take a deep breath and just take in a calm presence and a familiar face, and just some reassurance, I guess. Um, Lots of positivity.
And where do you find that if you're nervous?
Just from, I mean, as soon as the nerves go away, I'm reminded of the faith that I have in women and women's bodies and women knowing their own bodies and knowing what to do. So all of the calm comes from that, I think. What about you?
I wasn't fully listening to what you were saying because we had a question and I was just looking something up.
That's okay. Hi, Esme.
There's me.
It's a good question.
Esme asks, and this is not off topic, this is always on topic. Why do you think birth is such a traumatic experience for so many women? Oh, that's cool. It comes up with a poem. That's awesome. Oh. So the birth trauma associations say it's not always the sensational or dramatic events that trigger childbirth trauma, but other factors such as loss of control, loss of dignity, the hostile attitudes of the people around them, feelings of not being heard, or the absence of informed consent to medical procedures. Now, none of those are part of the physical, hormonal, emotional process that is giving birth to a baby. That is how it's treated by the people around you. And I personally don't believe that birth is unpredictable in itself as a bodily function. I think it's incredibly predictable, but it becomes unpredictable with all of the other factors around it.
Yeah, the
So
external influences.
external influences, exactly.
Yeah.
So when you take something that is so very sensitive to other people and the environment, and then you put it in a whole world of unknowns, and you put it in a context that it was never meant to be in, when you consider what mammals need to give birth, which is privacy, a sense of comfort, a sense of warmth, feeling unobserved, and then you put birth amidst bright lights and strangers and strange noises, unfamiliar surroundings. You don't know what the rules are, and that sense of privacy is almost impossible to obtain.
Mm,
There's
yeah,
a loss of control there, which leads to fear of not knowing what's going to happen, and birth can't go smoothly in those situations.
absolutely. Um, the other question was, why do you think it brings up so much buried stuff for women, and why is there such a lack of emotional support for women processing trauma in existing services? That's a really good question.
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
I think, yeah, like you were saying, Ellie, it's the kind of lack of um, like the loss of dignity or privacy, and um, I mean, if things um, medical interventions are being done without informed consent, that that can bring things up for people, because consent is such a massive importance, and especially if you're in you're giving birth, you need to feel safe and respected. So um, that I think those things definitely could trigger things that are buried, um, previous births or just experiences in life before that. Um, as well, the lack of emotional support for women processing trauma. That that's a good question. Do you have an answer for that, Ellie? I wish there was an easy answer for that, but I don't think there is. I think it's
Why do you think it brings up so much praise stuff for me? I think if we were to acknowledge the trauma that women carry, like truly acknowledge it, I think the world would fall apart. The world as we know it would grind to a halt if we had to, yeah, acknowledge the trauma that's being done to women all the time for being women. And I think that so much of that is unsurfaced, even if you've never had a baby before. And then you go through the maternity services as they are now with scant regard for the fact that we are emotional beings first and foremost, and that birth is an emotional process. The things that is expected from us from being little girls is to be quiet, to listen to authority, to dislike our bodies, and to not trust our bodies. That disconnect there is really deep rooted. And when it comes time to really, really call on all of those things, the connection to our body and trusting our emotions and trusting our intuition, when it really, really comes to it, it's really hard to do because we've been so separated from it.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a big one. We could talk about that all night.
We could. What about the lack of support? Do you think that's a lack of acknowledgement?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. I think if the health service had to acknowledge the damage that's being done, well, they would have to acknowledge it to fix it. And that's not the case at the moment, unfortunately. Um,
Because if we were going to have trauma services for women after they give birth, we'll move on to the next question.
no, carry on. It's all right.
If we're going to acknowledge that, we'd have to acknowledge the fact that women are being traumatized by births that, on paper, are completely normal.
Mhm. They're not being traumatized
Um,
by a medical, actual, um, you know, problem with
yeah, I
the
mean,
process.
as according to her green notes, anything that happens during that birth, you know, stuff that isn't normal, but it's been normal just because it's so common.
Mhm,
And women are coming away from that and they're feeling robbed of an experience. They are feeling gaslit because they're being told to be grateful and at least they've got a healthy baby, and but they know that something isn't right because they were not treated right.
mhm.
And if we were to acknowledge that, there aren't enough services. There should be. There shouldn't be the trauma in the first place, but there should at
Yeah,
the very, very least be the services to help women to recover from that.
absolutely. We've got a few questions from Chloe about free birth. Hi, Chloe. Um,
Hello.
my my eyes, I don't have my glasses on because they reflect the light. I've done this every night. So I'm struggling to read.
Want me
But
to read it?
you could do. I could put them on the screen, but there's 3 separate ones.
I'll just zoom in a little bit.
Okay.
Uh, Chloe, are you watching right now?
Yay, hi.
Hello. Is it okay if we read your question as you've written it? I'm not sure I'm not sure how it appears on Facebook, so I
Yeah,
don't want to
I think it
give.
comes up as a comment, but yeah,
Okay.
that's fine. Um, we could do
So,
a answer.
oh, hang on, she's written something.
Oh, yeah.
She's happy for us to read it. Okay, I'm really looking forward to my first free birth. That's wonderful. The birth itself, I've no concerns about. It's everything afterwards. I feel like I need an A to Z of what to do if the placenta doesn't come away itself, how to separate the baby from the cord after the pulsating has stopped, and what you use to weigh the baby and placenta, and how to dispose of it. Also, knowing if I call someone after the baby's born or if I just leave it if all is well. Gosh, I have so many questions. That's great.
That's great. Yeah,
Questions
we
a
like
lot.
questions. Don't worry.
Yeah, we do. Okay, so I'll just break that down for you.
Mhm.
What if the placenta doesn't come away? How to separate the baby from the cord? How do you weigh the baby? How do you dispose of the placenta? And knowing if you call someone, or
Mm,
when or if to call someone.
yeah. Um, just on that, I'm doing it backwards, but just on that last question, um,
Hmm?
you can always call someone, um, if you feel like that's what you need to do at that time, then yeah, you don't need to check with anyone, you can just call. Um, I guess you could call the maternity unit, or if you think it's an emergency, then, an ambulance, but, um
I've heard that you need to inform someone of the birth within 6 hours. I don't know how
really?
true that is.
Oh,
I know I know women who have not done that and nothing bad has happened.
no. Is that, from the hospitals? Is that what they've said? Wow.
Um, I think it was advice that I saw in a free birth group. Sorry to be so vague, and I don't really know.
Okay.
Um, maybe it comes down to like the law says that you shouldn't conceal a pregnancy and conceal a birth for
Mm,
very obvious reasons. So there's no harm in calling and saying I've had my baby.
yeah.
And we've known of situations where they said that they won't send a midwife out if the baby's already been born, then they don't have enough midwives to go around. So I don't know. That's something to check. Do you have to inform somebody within 6 hours, or did I just make that up?
I don't know um, what the laws are, I guess. I know you have to obviously register the
Well, at
baby.
the moment, you don't even have to register.
Oh, really? Because you can't go out
Yeah.
unless you're having
Yeah.
a baby, apparently. Um,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Um,
That's one to find out more about because I'm not really sure. But yes, you can always call for help if you need
mm,
it. You can
yeah.
always go in if you need it, and you can inform somebody to say, "Yes, I've had my baby." I'm just not sure if that's one of the hard lines there.
Mhm,
Sorry, I
mhm.
can't give you an answer on that. But um, placenta, how to dispose of it? Some
Ooh,
people dispose of it by eating it.
so many ways. There's so many things you can do with a placenta.
Apparently, every mammal, apart from camels and dolphins, eat their placenta.
I've seen a cat do it.
I'm really interested in cat placentas,
They look really
but
weird.
I bet they do. Nice nutritious meal for after the baby is born. So you can make a print with it if you want something to remember it by without actually keeping it. You can bury it if you want. You can literally cook it and eat it. You can encapsulate it. I do encapsulation, but I'm also happy to tell other people how to do encapsulation because it's actually pretty easy and it's probably quite wise to do it yourself with your own germs right now.
Mm.
What else can you do with it?
What would you do if you didn't want to keep it at all? You know how you would, because you can't
Oh,
just,
just chuck it away.
yeah, I don't think you can just put it in the bin, can you?
Yeah, because if you bought a steak
Mm.
and you didn't eat it, you just chuck it in the bin, wouldn't you? I'm a vegan,
True,
but
but
pretty sure that's what you do.
isn't there a thing about it being human remains? That's why they say to bury it, like, further if you're burying it.
You mean like if you're burying it?
No, I mean, like, if you're throwing it away, but I don't
No.
know.
If you bought 3 steaks or 6 steaks from the supermarket and
Mm,
then it turns out that you didn't have time to eat them, you wouldn't think about burying it, would you?
no, no, but I'm just thinking about the bin people.
They
So
would know. They would just think it was a delicious steak that you'd thrown away for no reason.
potentially. Yeah, I don't know if there's any rules on that. No, but
No, and you can bury it. You can also with one placenta, you can do all of the things as well. So you
mm,
can have a partial lotus birth if you want to. You can cut bits off and have smoothies if you want to. You can encapsulate some. You could eat some. You could make a print with all. You can do all of the things. You can make a tincture with vodka and make your own homeopathic remedy if you want.
so many
Excuse me,
things.
that's really gross. I've got a really itchy nose inside my nose.
Um,
With lotus birth. you want to say something about that? Sorry,
Oh, yeah, I can do. You got a really itchy nose there. You okay?
it's my nose.
Um, yeah, so one of your questions was, how to separate the baby from the cord. So, um, there is the option of not separating it and just leaving it until it drops off naturally, which is a lotus birth, but it does mean that you have the baby and a placenta to kind of negotiate, which I think we've heard, um stories of that being a bit awkward after a while, but some people love it. Um, and it saves you having to find the right scissors or anything like that. Do you want to talk
It's
about
not
cord
the,
ties?
it's not the emergency that it appears on the TV, like, oh my god, the baby's been born, like get a shoelace, and
It doesn't need to be done like no.
you
Um,
can literally not do it. You can burn the cord if you want to. You can yeah, you can burn it. I've never actually done that, and I haven't seen it, but I know that it happens. I've seen a video of it
you do it with a
to separate.
candle.
You can do it with a candle, but then some people use this like wooden block as well to separate the baby from the candle.
Oh,
I don't know anything about that
I'm
really,
sure there's
but
loads of info on that though.
yeah, but the cool thing about if you leave the cord to stop pulsating, the Wharton's jelly, which is what keeps the cord so lubricated and slippery so that it doesn't tie itself in knots when it's in the womb, when that comes out and it's exposed to the cold air, it starts to dry and it clamps the cord shut. So after the cord has stopped pulsating, you don't need to do anything to clamp it.
Mm,
It's nature's own clamp. Some people buy the plastic clamps. I don't know where you get them from in the UK. I know people in America do that, but you can also use string. You can use cord ties. You can use a bit of yarn. You can use a bit of thread. You can use dental floss. The World Health Organization says it's okay to use dental floss. About 2 inches from the baby, you just tie a knot, and then you tie a knot around the other side, just like a normal knot, like a dressing gown knot. About 2 inches from the baby. So,
mm,
and then you can do whatever you want with your placenta.
yeah.
Anything.
Oh, there we
You
go.
to read it, or have you frozen?
No, I was. Did I look like I was frozen? No, I was reading carefully.
What to do if the placenta doesn't come away
Um,
itself? So, it's very likely in an undisturbed birth that the placenta will follow smoothly and easily, just like the baby. But it's really important to remember that that birthing the placenta is the third stage of a birth. So if you wanting a calm birth, and I'm not saying that you should, you can roar the house down if that's what feels right to you. But just remember that the birth isn't over once the baby comes. So to try and keep the same conditions for the birth of the placenta as the birth of the baby, if you want things to be smooth and straightforward. It's completely up to you how long is too long. You'll know if something's wrong, and you'll know if you want to get assistance with the placenta. But oh god, I can't remember what I was going to say. But the birth of the placenta needs the same conditions. It needs the same conditions for birthing the baby. The body, you need to feel warm and safe and supported and loved and unobserved to be able to birth the placenta.
Excellent. Hi, Naomi. I think that's all the questions that we have. Does anyone have any more questions?
I had more to say about placenta
Keep going.
coming
Keep going.
coming away, but it's gone.
Oh, it'll come back, I'm sure.
So, we are often told that an hour is the longest you can wait for a placenta to come out, and there's no evidence that an hour is more or less beneficial than 15 minutes or 4 hours. If you have a managed third stage, so you have the injection to make the placenta come quicker, then there absolutely is a time limit on that, because from administering the injection to um, to make the placenta detach and come out, it does make the cervix close. So obviously, if you had the injection, you want to get the placenta out before the cervix closes, because then it's obviously stuck. But in a normal third stage, it makes absolutely no sense that the body would do that. So sometimes it feels like the placenta hasn't come out and that it's still there, and then the woman stands up and it just falls out, or she just goes for a wee because she feels uncomfortable, and there it is. We know of a woman who may be in the chat. She said she was going to join today, and I think she waited. She had a free birth, and then she waited 5 hours for the placenta to come. When it didn't, and she went to hospital, and like immediately the placenta came. So you can always get help, even if you've had a fully free birth. It's not about you don't get a certificate if you fully free birth and you never see a medical professional. If you feel like you need it, then you just go.
Yeah.
But the things you have at your disposal are time, gravity, movement, putting the baby to the breast, just normal things.
Oxytocin things.
Yeah, oxytocin things. Hope it answered your question, but you're very welcome to ask more.
Yeah, Chloe, let us know if there's anything else. And also feel free to message us if you want a full one-to-one about free birth. We'd love that. But yeah, any more questions, just fire them our way. Ellie,
I
you
feel
didn't
like
mention that you make cord ties.
I do make cord ties, and I'm always making cord ties when we do home birth group, or actually any of the groups who do. I always take my little kit and I'm always making them, and we do have them in our shop. And at the moment, I've been kind of just giving them away to it just feels like a nice thing to do at the moment.
It is. Do you think you could teach me how to crochet over
Oh,
video chat?
yeah, absolutely. And I'll also show anybody else who wants to learn, because we should all be able to make our own cord ties. And also, making your own clothes for your baby is so cool.
Oh my
It
god.
makes you feel as if it makes, if you're pregnant and it feels like massive that you're creating this life, and somehow making a tiny little hat or a pair of booties makes you go, I can probably do this. So I would love to show anybody who would like to learn how to crochet anything.
Crocheting with Ellie tomorrow night. I
I
don't
gotta
have.
warn you,
I
I'm
don't.
a rubbish teacher.
I'm sure you're not.
No, Laurie will attest to the fact that I am completely rubbish.
um, I don't have any of the equipment. Don't have a hook.
Oh,
Don't
I'm
think I
sure you
can
can
provide
find
one.
one. Yeah, maybe you might have to Amazon yourself one.
Oh yeah, I could do that. I forgot that Amazon's still alive.
It's like the only company that's still alive.
Oh,
Oh, it says first feed details on how long it should take for that to happen.
oh,
Midwives say 1 hour, etc.
that's a good question.
It is. Do you have an answer?
Um, I mean, my answer would be that there's no time limit on these things. Like, um, your baby will know what to do, and you will instinctively know what to do. So just try it, give it a go. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, especially in that first hour. Like, keep, putting baby on your breast, like to the breast anyway, is going to encourage baby to go for it. But I wouldn't stress about it, because that's the opposite of what your body needs. Your body needs to be relaxed. So looking at the clock and thinking, my hour's nearly up, is just going to stress you out, and that's not good for
Yeah, your baby's got no idea how long an hour is.
you. Yeah, it knows how to feed, but it doesn't know how to read a clock. So
No. The important thing is getting that skin to skin as soon as you can and staying there for as long as you can.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Was.
Yeah, that's not okay.
Yeah,
It's not an emergency. And either way, even if it was, nobody gets to touch you without your permission.
no, if anything's gonna stress you out, it's that.
Hmm. That kind of hands-on breastfeeding support, if you can call it that, when somebody just woman handles you, it's counterproductive, because if you've got somebody saying this is what you do and I can do it, then what happens when that person goes away? And the breastfeeding relationship is all about trust between you and the baby. And there are so many ways to support that relationship and to get the right latch. But when you're dependent on somebody else to physically do something that you can't, it's not helpful at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we can always talk feeding. And Naomi, who's also in the chat, is
Yeah. Somewhere.
wonderful at breastfeeding. And I did ask her if we could have a virtual breastfeeding cafe. That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be.
Yeah. We know lots of mums, lots of mums come to our group who have been feeding through pregnancy, and now they have a new one, and it does feel so different, because you've got into the swing of it with your older one. You both know completely what you're doing, and then you've got this little one thrown into the mix who is brand new at it, and it's a different kind of feed, it's a different kind of latch. The proportion of head to boob and mouth to nipple is so different, but you will find your rhythm with your new little one just like you do with your old one. Yeah, we can definitely talk about feeding. We can talk about first feeding, and we can talk about first feeding as a first time mum and as a not first time mum. We can totally do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I did a breastfeeding peer support course, and it was awesome. And I learned that most problems can be resolved with skin to skin.
Mm.
Can't see any more questions, but do you have anything else to say on the matter of mental emotional preparedness?
I forgot what we've already said.
processing a previous birth,
Yeah.
what it is that you, when you walk through your door, how you want other people to feel,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and the work that you do from the last birth to stepping through the door of being able to approach it as a new birth, but at the same time using what you know and what you've learned
Yeah.
without projecting it.
Yeah. It's a delicate balance. But yeah, that's all present. Like all of the things that you've learned and the experiences that you've had, that they are there. But it's being able to, yeah, separate it from the birth that you are going to, or the birth that you're at. And in terms of, I guess, yeah, obviously, like we've already said a bit of this, but obviously debriefing after birth massively helps with that. And then the I find the antenatal sessions that we have with our clients super helpful, just because you can learn about the woman and how obviously women, they're all different, and their pregnancies are different, and so their births are going to be different, and they're going to need different things. And so yeah, just getting to know that woman really helps to, I guess, see her as her and not any of your previous clients. I think that helps massively.
And having the postnatal as well afterwards
Mm,
is a really important part of me processing and reflecting on what happened.
yeah, definitely. Because I mean, you're both at the same birth, but the kind of versions of events are obviously two different sides. So it's really interesting to bring those together to see a full picture. I really enjoy that. Um, yeah, that's really good. It's also good for, if it hasn't been, if it wasn't the most positive experience for the woman, it gives her that chance to debrief when, I mean, you're not necessarily going to get that chance with a community midwife, um, home health visitor. Um, you might not get that chance, and they might not have built up the same rapport with those people. So it may be the only chance or the only time that they kind of talk about it with someone who was there. So we can, listen and understand where they're coming from, and if something happened that wasn't right, we can be, you um, we can say like, yeah, that wasn't okay, and sometimes that's what women need to hear.
And as far as we're concerned, we can have that postnatal. Like it's never too late to have a postnatal.
Mm,
So even if you didn't birth with us, if you still want to if you want to debrief your birth with us, then we will always do that. Even if your birth was 10 years ago, 20 years ago,
mm,
you can always come to us and you can always make an appointment and you can always have that discussion. Whether you think things didn't go well or they did and you just want to just get it out there.
mm,
That's certainly what I noticed when I was doing the breastfeeding peer support stuff. I was seeing women, a few weeks down the line, and they would tell me about their birth, or I'd ask about their birth, and it hadn't been discussed. People would ask how much the baby weighed, and that's it. And this would be the first opportunity that for those things to be said and to be heard about the experience.
mm,
So it's never too soon and it's never too late. And it's also okay to have more than one. So your first impressions of your birth a few days after or a few hours after would be very different to a few months
yeah,
later. And that's okay. It's your story and it's yours to make meaning from.
absolutely.
So what should we talk about tomorrow?
I don't know. It's the last day of World Doula Week tomorrow. I can't think of a specific topic. I think we kind of start with a specific topic and then talk about everything in between, which is good. I like that. I don't know. Anything anyone watching would want to know tomorrow? Let us know. Um, after that, after tomorrow, are we gonna carry on? Not every
I'd
day,
like to. I'd like
maybe.
to. I'm having a great time. This
Yeah.
is my thing that I've most feared throughout being a Greater Manchester doula is making videos, and I'm really having a great time.
um,
It
we're
does help
getting,
that I'm playing a video game at the same time.
that probably does help keep you
The first
distracted.
day I didn't, and I definitely. But then every time I pause it, that's when I start going on. I need to actually carry on playing, and then I won't get carried away with myself.
No, we want you to get carried away with yourself. That's the point.
We'd be here. We'd be here all night.
I
But
know, but we just love it. We can't stop once we get started.
yeah, and we'll press like the end button, but we're still gonna carry on talking about
Carry on.
it. It never stops.
I know, but we have to stop the live bit, otherwise we literally
Yeah,
would never stop.
yeah, you're right.
But what could we talk
We've
about
got
tomorrow?
we've got 23 hours to come up with something, and we will.
What about the current situation? I know we're going to be talking about that, um, not live recording, which is exciting, but maybe after that we'll be raring to talk about it live. You never know.
Yeah, yeah, that one isn't gonna be. It's not gonna be jolly. Esme says, "Can you do Zoom sessions? Then we can talk as well." Yeah, we'd love that.
Mm. Like a group, or like you and the doulas.
Oh, do you mean like on a Facebook Live situation, or do you mean just privately? Because we can do either.
Okay. Well, yeah. If you wanna talk like just you and the doulas, then just send us a message and we can do that. We're all home, so we've got plenty of time. Yeah, if that's what you wanna do, or if you meant like a group um Zoom session, we have a couple of groups, right? Home birth
Mm-hmm.
group. We're
Mm-hmm.
gonna be doing on Zoom, aren't we? I don't know when that is.
We're gonna have a free birth Zoom. We're gonna have a home birth Zoom. We're gonna have women reclaiming birth Zoom. We're gonna have birth workers circle Zoom.
Everything.
And yeah, all of the groups that we're doing are all going to be Zoom for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. So if you wanted to join in with any of those, um, we have a Facebook group called Women Wild Women Rising, and all of the groups get posted on there, so you'll be able to see when all the different ones are if you want to join that. Um, yeah, we're getting
And
used to
it's not
video chat.
the Wild Women Rising one is a like every Friday we have a get together, and that is not specifically about birth. It's a different topic every week, but we usually end up talking about pregnancy and birth because it's us.
Yeah,
So you're always welcome to come and share that space with us and to ask your questions and to be listened to by other women.
physically dueling. That's a good question. We yeah, we should be
Yeah.
on call. We're on call next week. Was it the end of the?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it's Saturday. I keep forgetting what day it is.
Yeah, that's
Um,
understandable.
the end of next week.
Yes, we're
Yeah,
physically doularing and we're not going to stop physically doularing.
yeah. We know that the guidelines at the hospitals are very confusing right now, and they all seem to be a little bit different. Um, so we are going to do as much as we can, whatever the woman wants us to do. So yeah,
Yeah, and we're also not giving up the whole birth partner, even one or two thing without a fight. Even if you're told that, it doesn't mean that you can't challenge it.
yes, we're going to come up with ways to challenge it. Um, Also, it might be worth saying that we work as a team. So, yeah, you said, are any of us physically dueling? So we work as a three, so one of us will be going to the birth, but um, we will be on call like as a team. So two of us will be one will be on call as the main doula, the second one will be the backup, and then the third one will be doing their own thing, probably in their own house at the moment. And then that kind of rotates. So yeah, all of us, I guess, we're all potentially going to be one of us will be there, but we don't know who.
I suspect that in these crazy times, I suspect all three of us will be on call because who goes to the birth is going to depend on logistics and how well we are
Yeah.
at the moment.
I mean, it's not like any of us are going out of town or to the cinema or to swimming baths. So yeah, we'll all be ready and eager to leave the house. So
Yes, that's a point. I'd be fighting over who gets to go.
oh, Chloe, thank you.
Yeah,
Um,
thanks, Chloe.
yeah, it's a difficult time for women at the moment, and we want to support them in any way that we can. So if there's anything anything you want to talk about, let us know because we're here. We're listening.
We are offering one-to-ones at the moment for free. There's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of fear, but what birthing women need, does not change during a pandemic. It hasn't changed since we were cave women. So those needs are still the same, and we're still here to meet those needs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are we comfortable with free births? That would be. I'm even going to put my controller down for this. We are 100% comfortable with free births when the woman is informed and it's what she wants to do, and
Yeah.
that's what she feels safest doing. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I think that answered the question.
My two thumbs. I even put my controller down.
Bit
I
ambiguous.
put my controller down because I got to a really scary part of the game and I don't know what to do now.
So you're playing your scary one now, not Tomb Raider.
Don't play my scary one. I've got to finish it though.
What's happening? Why is it so scary?
I can't tell you, it's too scary.
Don't scare us all. Okay,
Oh,
tell me after.
okay. So we'll be here again tomorrow,
Yeah.
8:30. If anybody wants to chat privately in the meantime, you're welcome to get in contact with us.
Mm-hmm.
Two of us will speak to you for up to an hour and a half. No charge. Anything you want to talk about. And yeah, brilliant. You're really welcome to do that, Esme. You're welcome to do that, Chloe, and anybody else who's watching who hasn't chimed in. It's an open offer. Just send us
Absolutely.
a message on Facebook.
Also, obviously we're based in Great Manchester, but if anyone who's not in Manchester that wants a video chat, like that's fine as well, obviously.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, which is quite nice because we're not usually able to, support people across the country. But
Yeah, no different. I mean, we'd
I guess
probably
we can
be
from now on.
zooming. We'd be zooming on next door neighbour at this point, so it doesn't matter if it's our next door neighbour or if, as long
Exactly.
as you've got an internet connection, we're good. Yeah,
Wherever.
brilliant, thanks, Chloe. It's been good.
If you've got an idea for a topic, please let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Otherwise, we're just going to wing it. And look, and when me and Amy wing it, when Laurie's not here to keep us on the straight and narrow,
this is what happens. We've been
look
going
what
54 minutes.
it feels like about 5 minutes.
I know, but that's what happens when we start talking about birth.
We should just have where Laurie is. She's got a headache and she went to sleep
Yeah.
early.
And I
Nothing
think
terrible
she's still
has happened.
asleep, but hopefully she's sleeping it off and she feels better.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe she'll have a good idea for a topic. We can rely on her for that. She
Yeah.
definitely will have.
All right. See you tomorrow, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Say hello. Bye.